something stopped mattering. You don't know exactly when. There was no dramatic moment, no breakdown, no single day you can point to and say, that is when it happened. It just quietly did. The things you worked for arrived and felt like nothing. The relationships you built feel like performances you are tired of giving. The goals you chased turned out to be somebody else's idea of a life that you somehow agreed to want. And now you move through your days doing all the right things, feeling almost none of it. Not sad exactly, not anxious, just hollow. Like something that used to be there has gone quiet. And the worst part, you cannot tell anyone, because from the outside, your life looks fine. You look fine. You are fine, except you are not. And you know it. And Nietzsche, who felt this emptiness more completely than anyone who has ever lived, called it by its real name. Not depression, not burnout, not a phase. He called it nihilism, and he said something about it that nobody who quotes him ever tells you, that it is not the end, it is the beginning of the only life worth actually living. Before I show you what Nietzsche discovered, I want to give you something real, something you can use today, not philosophy, yet. 3 practices for the specific emptiness you have been carrying. The first practice, name the void. The next time you feel that hollow feeling, do not reach for your phone. Do not fill it. Do not distract it. Do not perform your way through it. Instead, sit with it for 60 seconds, just 60, and say internally, this is the void. Not as judgment, not as fear, as recognition. You are not broken. You are standing in the clearing that every person who ever built something real had to stand in first. Naming it removes its power to terrify you. The void you run from is 10 times larger than the void you face. The second practice, trace the collapse. Take one thing that used to matter and no longer does, a goal, a relationship, a belief, and ask yourself honestly, did it stop mattering because something is wrong with you? Or did it stop mattering because you finally saw through it? Because Nietzsche said there is a crucial difference between the person who has given up and the person who has woken up. One lost their meaning. The other outgrew borrowed meaning and has not yet built their own. Which one are you? That question alone will change how you understand everything you have been feeling. The third practice, one honest statement daily. Every morning, before the performance begins, write one sentence that is completely true, not inspiring, not productive, just honest. Something like, I do not know what I want yet, or the life I am living is not fully mine, or something in me is waiting. One true sentence, written for nobody but yourself. Because Nietzsche said the path through nihilism begins with radical honesty, not with answers, with the courage to stop pretending you have them. Try these today, then come back. Because what Nietzsche discovered about the void you are living in is the most important thing you will hear this year. Because Nietzsche did not just describe the emptiness, he traced it to its source. And what he found there is something nobody in the modern world wants to admit is true. Nietzsche looked at the modern world and saw something that most people around him were desperately trying not to see. The structures that had given human life meaning for 2,000 years were collapsing. Not just religion, everything built on top of religion, the moral frameworks, the social hierarchies, the shared stories about why we are here and what we are supposed to do and what makes a life worth living. All of it, slowly, quietly, irreversible, coming apart. And he described this collapse with 3 words that became the most misunderstood statement in the history of philosophy. God is dead. He did not mean that religion was wrong. He did not mean that you should become an atheist. He meant something far more personal and far more devastating. He meant that the external source of meaning, whatever yours was, is no longer holding. For some people it was God, literally. For others it was the promise that hard work leads to fulfillment, or that love fixes loneliness, or that achievement creates purpose, or that if you just get the right life, the right job, the right partner, the right version of yourself, you will finally feel like it all means something. That promise, that external structure, that borrowed meaning is what Nietzsche called God. And he said, for the people honest enough to see it, it is already dead. Now look at your own life. The thing you were told would matter that arrived and felt like nothing. The version of success you achieved that left you emptier than before. The relationship that was supposed to complete you that somehow made you more aware of what was missing. That is not failure. That is the death of God in your specific life. That is the moment borrowed meaning ran out and the void opened. Most people respond one of 2 ways. They either fill the void immediately with consumption, distraction, a new goal, a new relationship, a new version of the same borrowed meaning wearing a different costume. Or they collapse into it and call it depression. Nietzsche said both responses are the same mistake. One is running from the void, the other is drowning in it. Neither is going through it. Because Nietzsche said there is a third response, one that almost nobody takes, not because it is impossible, because it requires something most people are not willing to give. And what that is the most important thing he ever wrote. Here is what Nietzsche actually said about the void. Most people want him to say it gets better. That meaning returns, that the emptiness is temporary. He didn't. He said something harder. When you stare into the abyss stares back into you. The void does not go away. Not with the right philosophy, not with the right practice, not with the right video. It is a permanent feature of conscious human existence. And the person who spends their life trying to fill it, or escape it, or cure it, is the person who never discovers what it was actually for. Because Nietzsche said the void is not the absence of meaning, it is the space where meaning can be created, not found, not inherited, not downloaded from a tradition or a religion or a self-help framework. Created by you from scratch, using nothing but your own values, your own experience, your own honest encounter with what actually matters to you, not what was supposed to matter. He called the person capable of this the Übermensch. Not a superhuman, not a genius, not someone special, someone willing to stand in the void without flinching, willing to look at the collapse of everything that used to give life meaning and say, good, now I can build something real. That word, good, is the most radical thing Nietzsche ever wrote. Not, this is terrible, not, I need to fix this. Good. The death of borrowed meaning is the birth of genuine meaning, but only for the person willing to stop running long enough to build. But here is where most people misread Nietzsche completely. They hear the Übermensch and think it means becoming stronger, more disciplined, more productive, more ambitious. He meant the exact opposite. And what he actually meant is going to change the way you understand everything you think you are supposed to be doing with your life. The Übermensch is not about becoming more. It is about becoming more honestly yourself. Nietzsche watched people respond to the death of God by immediately replacing it with a new God. Science, progress, nation, race, self-improvement, productivity, success, new structures, new borrowed meanings, new external frameworks, wearing secular clothing. And he said, these are all the same mistake in different costumes. The person who replaces religious meaning with hustle culture, meaning has not gone through the void. They have decorated it. The genuine response to the collapse of meaning is not to find a better structure. It is to become the source of your own structure. To ask not, what does this framework tell me to value? But what do I actually value when nobody is watching? What would I choose if choice were not a performance for others? What matters to me? Not because I was told it should, but because something deep and honest and entirely mine says it does. Camus understood the same truth from a different angle. He looked at the void and called it the absurd, the gap between the human need for meaning and the universe's complete indifference to that need. And he said, the only honest response is not to fill the gap. It is to live inside it with full awareness. To choose your meaning, knowing it is chosen, not given, not guaranteed, chosen. And Jung, who spent his life in the darkness of the psyche, said the void is where the self lives, not the persona, not the performance, the actual person underneath everything you have been told to be. He called the journey into the void individuation, the process of becoming so fully yourself that the borrowed meanings simply cannot survive in your presence. 3 thinkers, 3 traditions, all pointing at the same door. The void is not what you are afraid of. The void is where you are, and it has been waiting for you to stop running long enough to find out what is actually inside it. Because what Nietzsche found on the other side of the void, what he called the highest affirmation available to a human being, is the most counterintuitive and the most liberating thing philosophy has ever produced. Nietzsche called it amor fati, love of fate, not acceptance of fate, not resignation to fate. Love, the specific choice to look at everything that has happened to you, the collapse of meaning, the hollow feeling, the years of borrowed purpose, the void that opened when it all fell away, and say, I would not change a single thing, not because it was all good, because it was all necessary, because every structure that had to collapse, collapsed so that something real could finally stand in its place. Because the void you have been living in is not evidence that your life has failed. It is evidence that you are finally honest enough to stop pretending a borrowed life is yours. This is what Nietzsche meant by the death of God being a beginning and not an end. The person who has never felt the void has never questioned whether the life they are living is actually theirs. They are still inside the borrowed structure, still performing the meaning someone else assigned, still waiting for the external framework to tell them they are enough. You are not that person. You felt the collapse. You stood in the void. You are asking the question that the borrowed life was specifically designed to prevent you from asking. What do I actually want? What actually matters to me? What would I build if I were building for myself and not for the approval of a structure that no longer holds? That question is not a symptom of nihilism. It is the cure. Go back to that hollow feeling, the one that arrived when the thing that was supposed to matter didn't. Now you know what that was. That was not emptiness, that was clarity. The specific clarity of a person who is finally seen through the borrowed life far enough to know it is not theirs. And that clarity, as terrifying as it feels, is the most valuable thing that has ever happened to you. Because you cannot build a genuine life on top of a borrowed one. The borrowed one had to collapse first, The void had to open first. The hollow feeling had to arrive and refuse to be filled before you could finally ask the question that your whole life was building toward. Nietzsche did not promise that the answer would be easy. He never lied to you about that. Building your own meaning from the ruins of everything that used to work is the hardest thing a human being can do. But he promised something that no borrowed meaning can ever offer, that it would be yours, completely, irreducibly, undeniably, yours. The void is not where meaning ends. The void is where you find out what you were always capable of building. God is dead, and that means you are finally free to decide what is sacred. Drop one word in the comments, the one thing that stopped mattering before you found this video. Not an explanation, just the word. Because naming what collapsed is the first step toward building what replaces it, and you are not alone in the void. I read everyone.